Oh. Oh. Helped myself is instead of studying at 10, I'm starting it at 5. Well, it's kind of difference. Oh. Wow. Wait, then he's getting stop. Ever get our homework stuff? Come on. Still hasn't posted it. Has he posted it? Has he posted it? I mean, we've already finished the chapter. We haven't even had a homework from that chapter, let alone a quiz. Now to take that exam that I risked getting a 0 on by not doing it before the due date. I already read part of this case. And it's also very redundant. 156, 165. The Nintendo Switch is a gaming console that comes with a pair of new and innovative controllers called Joy-Con controllers, a hybrid of an attachable gamepad and a controller that could be used separately for multiplayer gameplay. When it was introduced in 2017, Nintendo's management was highly optimistic about the Switch, and Nintendo believed that it could sell about 10 million units of Switch consoles within a year after the launch. As of January 2019, Nintendo's latest gaming console, Nintendo Switch, had exceeded 32 million units sold, and software sales for the console had reached 163.61 million units. A pair of Joy-Cons was included in the $300 price tag of the Switch console. The Joy-Con came in 2 color options for customers to choose from, one gray and red blue and the other gray and black. A more innovative feature in the new gaming console was that it could be transformed into a 6.2-inch high-definition on-the-go gaming screen if a user desired to move away from the TV. The Switch console also marked the release of Nintendo Switch's very first epic game called The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which could be played both on the Switch and Wii U consoles for a price of $60. Why did they do that? Nintendo of America's CEO and President Reggie Fils-Aime said, Nintendo Switch makes it easy for anyone to enjoy their games in the living room and then quickly take them on the go. The new gaming console design meant that console gaming was not only limited to one stationary TV anymore and could be experienced anywhere, anytime. The launch of Nintendo Switch caught the attention of consumers and mostly received a positive response, but apparently the news did not impress the investors. leaving the company's stock tumbling. This may have reflected concerns regarding the battery life of the portable console, its price, and third-party support. Nevertheless, a flood of customer orders led to stock shortages in stores like GameStop and Toys R Us, among others. Addressing the stock shortage, Reggie Fils-Aime said, "Our focus is making sure that the consumer who wants to buy a Nintendo Switch can buy a Nintendo Switch." The initial plan had been to ship 2 million consoles. Nintendo decided to double the production to deal with the shortage and meet the strong demand. The stocks had surged high by mid-2018, a year after Nintendo Switch's launch. According to the Wall Street Journal, to meet demand for 1 year out, ending April 2018, the company's management decided to manufacture 16 million Switch consoles, double the yearly quantity of 8 million units. The traditional production target. One of the key topics of discussion in the popular press was whether or not the Switch console will define the next generation of gaming. This echoed similar press concerns after the launch of Nintendo's previous console, the Wii U. Prior to the launch of the Switch, its predecessor, the Nintendo Wii U console, had been on the market for only a short while with the addition of innovative controls and new game titles. Then there had been uncertainty among industry experts such as Gabriel Schrager of Ubisoft and Michael Valverde of Frozenbyte as to whether or not the improved power and new controller interface justified the systems being considered a new generation. The Wii U initially was launched. Who cares? With 50 available games and a new controller interface turned to the gamepad. While the gamepad offered a new take on the Wii's controls, the new console is still compatible with the same motion sensing controllers of the original Wii. However, the Wii U console was not sold with these controllers included. Instead, it came with just one of the new gamepads, incorporating traits from tablet devices. The gamepad integrated both traditional input methods such as buttons, dual analog sticks, and a D-pad. Directional pad and a touch screen. The touch screen could be used to supplement a game by providing alternative functionality or an alternative view of a scenario in a game with the off-TV play function. The screen could also be used to play a game strictly on the gamepad screen without the use of a television display at all. With the Wii U console turned on, a gamepad could be used to display the same picture on a screen as would be seen using a TV display. There were also non-gaming functions. Such as the ability to use the gamepad as a television remote. While Nintendo was the first of the competitors to release its new gaming console, there was no doubt that both Sony's PlayStation and Microsoft's Xbox would be close behind in releasing their own upgrade systems. Although Nintendo is slightly behind in comparison to competitors, the company saw a significant improvement in its net sales after Nintendo Switch. What? What? You didn't even show. You only showed the dollars for 2019? Why would you do that? $1 million. A million. my gosh. Well, they have all their financial statements. So there's that. Background. Although Nintendo dated back to 1889 as a playing card maker. Nintendo's first video game systems were developed in 1979 and known as TV Game 15 and TV Game 6. In 1980, Nintendo developed the first portable LCD video game with a microprocessor. In 1985, Nintendo created the Nintendo Entertainment System, an 8-bit video game console. The original NES was very successful as its graphics were superior to any home-based console available at the time. As a result, more than 60 million units were sold worldwide. The NES was set the bar for subsequent consoles and platform design, as well as for accepting games that were manufactured by third-party developers when competitors began developing 16-bit devices such as Sega's Genesis system and NEC's PC Engine. Nintendo responded with its own 16-bit system, the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. The Super Nintendo was released in 1991 and when it was just came with one game, Super Mario World. In 1996, Nintendo released Nintendo 64. The Nintendo 64 was the company's third-generation video game console. It was named after the 64-bit processor during its product lifetime. More than 60 million Nintendo 64 units were sold worldwide. The Nintendo 64, like its predecessors, used its cartridges to play its games. But at the time, the competing Sony and Sega systems were using CDs for game storage. Cartridges could store 64 megabytes of data, while CDs could store about 1,100 megabytes. Also, CDs were cheaper to manufacture, distribute, and create. The average cost of producing a Nintendo 64 cartridge was $25 compared to 10 cents to produce a CD. Game producers passed the higher expense to the consumer, which explained why Nintendo 64 games tended to sell for higher prices than Sony PlayStation games. While most Sony PlayStation games rarely exceeded $50, Nintendo 64 titles could reach $70 to increase profits and to take advantage of the programming possibilities of the larger storage space. Many third-party game developers that had traditionally supported Nintendo platforms began creating games for systems that used a CD platform, such as the PlayStation. In 2001, Nintendo released its GameCube, which was part of the 6th generation era video game systems. These systems included Sony's PlayStation 2, Microsoft's Xbox, and Sega's Dreamcast. Although the GameCube did not use cartridges, Nintendo began producing its games using a proprietary optical disc technology. This technology, while similar in appearance to CDs, was actually smaller in diameter and could not be played using a standard CD player. When Nintendo released the Wii video game console in 2006, it was already in the midst of a very competitive market. The previous generation of video game consoles consisted of the Sega Dreamcast, Sony PlayStation 2, Nintendo GameCube, and Microsoft Xbox. Dude, you literally just repeated that. Like, you repeated that sentence twice, pretty much. Come on. These systems were all released between 1999 and 2001 in the United States, and although the GameCube sold more systems than did the Sega Dreamcast, it fell into third place behind the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox. The PlayStation 2 sold more than 115 million units worldwide, more than twice the combined unit sales of GameCube and Xbox, 21 and 24 million. By 2019, Nintendo had gone, oh crap, we're already up to 2019. You seriously just skipped all the way up to 2019. Seriously? Yeah, because literally their next game system after the Wii was the Wii U. Wait, when was that even released? We're already up to... Okay. Nintendo had gone beyond its Nintendo 3DS and Wii U and was banking on Nintendo Switch to beat the competition, but it was accompanied by rumors of a PlayStation 5. That was set to release in 2021. In May 2018, Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO John Codera told reporters, "We will use the next 3 years to prepare the next step, to crouch down so that we can jump higher into the future." This came shortly after he remarked that the PS4 was entering the final phase of its life cycle. The term Wii. In 2006, Nintendo released its direct successor to the GameCube, the Wii. There were many reasons cited as to why the name Wii was chosen. Perhaps the most compelling reason was that Wii sounded like Wii, which emphasized that the console was for everyone. Wii could be remembered easily by people around the world, no matter what language they spoke. No confusion. Initially, the system was known by its code name Revolution, but later the name was changed to Wii. Nintendo stated that it wanted to make the Wii system a system that would make anyone who tried to talk to his or her friends and neighbors about it. The making of the remote. The original Wii was created to establish a new standard in game control using an innovative and unprecedented interface, the Wii Remote. The Wii Remote was what made the Wii unique. The remote acted as the primary controller for the Wii. Its motion sensor capabilities allowed the user to interact with and manipulate objects on the screen by moving and pointing the remote in various directions. The Wii Remote was the size of a traditional remote control, and it was limited only by the game designer's imagination. For example, in a game of tennis, it served as the racket when the user swung his or her arm, while in a shooting game, it served as the user's gun. Not only did the remote serve as a controller, but also had a built-in speaker and a rumble feature for even greater tactile feedback and game involvement. The second part of the Wii Remote innovation was the Wii Nunchuck. The nunchuck was designed to perfectly fit the user's hand and it connected to the remote. Its extension port, the nunchuck had the same motion sensing capabilities that the remote had, but it also had an analog stick to help the user move his or her characters. The ambidextrous nature of colors was something seldom seen in other game controllers. The Wii controllers permitted the user to hold the remote and nunchuck whichever way they felt most comfortable. In addition to the analog stick, the nunchuck had 2 buttons that gave the user quick access to other game functions. Thus, the nunchuck offered some of the benefits of a standard game controller coupled with the high-technology motion sensors of the remote. Users could hold a nunchuck in one hand and a Wii remote in the other while playing the Wii Sports boxing game and can be transported into the boxing ring with on-screen opponents. The game controls were intuitive for jabs and punches, however, a missed block did not hurt as much as if one were really in a boxing ring. Wow, the Wii U. Here's the Wii U. Oh, jeez. Was still compatible with the original Wii controller. Nintendo revamped the controller usability when designing the Wii U. The new gamepad sold with the Wii U allowed the user to be more in touch with the game and provide more depth by offering multi-perspective capabilities on the pad's screen. While using the TV display, players could now multitask within a game by using a variety of functions on their controller and could even play using solely the gamepad with no TV display necessary with the game console turned on. Players have the option of using the gamepad as their main viewing screen without the need for a TV monitor display. Nintendo Switch features. Nintendo Switch came with a portable game console with a built-in screen. Pair of Joy-Con controllers, Joy-Con straps, Joy-Con grip, and a Nintendo Switch dock. The controller straps were detachable from the grip to be used with the portable screen to turn the Switch into a portable video game. The 6.2-inch detachable screen console came with a standard USB plug for charging, along with the traditional method of playing games by using buttons. Joy-Cons can also be used for motion-sensitive games, just like their predecessors. Nintendo also offered an additional controller called Nintendo Switch Pro Controller, which could be bought separately at a price of $70. It had the same features as Joy-Con, but it looked like a traditional gaming controller. This was not the first time Nintendo had surprised the market with such a new design. For instance, the company had done it in the past when it introduced motion-sensitive controllers. However, this time, in a way, Nintendo had combined the gamepad controller with the Wii U console to design the Switch. Gamers could play games by attaching the Nintendo Switch dock with the TV, or could convert it into a portable handheld game by attaching the controller straps with the 6.2-inch high-definition screen, 720p, which also included a kickstand to be placed on a flat surface and multi-touch features for various compatible games to enhance the gaming experience. The gamers could also take a screenshot of the game they played using a capture button on the left Joy-Con, which users could then share with their friends or put on social media, similar to the past Nintendo controllers. Both Joy-Cons included the motion controls. Switch supported the Nintendo eShop, an online game store that could be used to download games from different publishers and developers. Switch also supported the games by third-party publishers, including Electronic Arts, Activision, and Ubisoft, among others. The user interface of the Switch software was a UI design. The home screen displayed several different icons, including icons for featured games, settings, controllers, albums, screenshots, videos, Nintendo eShop, and options. Users could make different player profiles to sign in to maintain exclusive game progress, similar to what most people do using their personal computers. The top right corner of the screen showed battery status along with the time. Prior to Nintendo Switch, the company had introduced amiibo figurines that depicted popular Nintendo characters, and each contained a wireless antenna and flash memory. They allowed consumers to include digital versions of their favorite characters in compatible video games. Nintendo's first round of Amiibo characters were Mario, Peach, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Link, Fox, Samus, Wii Fit Trainer, Villager, Pikachu, Kirby, and Marth. By 2019, the company had introduced a number of new games for Nintendo Switch, including Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Maker 2, Pokémon Quest, and a few others. In March 2019, it released the updated version of its latest game, Yoshi's Crafted World. In the past, Nintendo had hoped to penetrate the segment and boost sales of its Wii U console and 3DS handheld in the process. However, in 2017, the company combined both Wii U console and 3DS into a single gaming platform that was Nintendo Switch. The results for the fiscal year ended December 31st, 2018 showed a very positive trend in global hardware sales for Nintendo Switch, which sold a total of 32.27 million units during this fiscal year. Demographics. And this is where I got to last time. And this is where I gave up last time and decided to risk my entire grade. I could have failed the class. Oh. What page? I'm still only on 162. Gosh dang it. According to Nintendo, one of the key differences between the Switch and competitors' systems was the broad audience that the Switch targeted. Many of the Switch games could be played by people of all ages and experience. And the Switch's Joy-Cons were easier to use than the complicated controllers of the Sony PlayStation 4 or Microsoft's Xbox One. Nintendo's TV commercials for the Switch showed people playing the Switch at home by connecting the game console to TV and outdoors by connecting the Joy-Cons with a portable screen. According to the company, the Switch offered something for both the advanced gamer and the person who had never played a video game before. The advanced gamer would enjoy the remote's unique features, whereas the novice gamer could use the remote as his or her hand and would not need elaborate instructions on how to play a new game straight out of the box. Although the Nintendo games were easily played by a greater range of ages and featured improved graphics, the company's competitors, Xbox and Sony, were offering 4K resolutions, best in the market at the time. While Nintendo hoped to target people of all ages, it had long been seen as a system that made video games for children, as evident from its Mario, Zelda, and Donkey Kong series. However, despite the limitation of this reputation, the innovation and uniqueness of its gameplay were enough to lure the masses, and sales were excellent. Success, of course, bred competition. Upon seeing the success of the movement, sensing Switch, Microsoft and Sony moved quickly to release competing systems. Microsoft released its Kinect for the Xbox, while Sony released the Move for the PlayStation. I barely even know about either of those. Both the Move and Kinect used camera systems for their motion detectors, but in different ways. Move's camera sensed the movement of the light-up Move controller, whereas Microsoft Kinect sensor tracked skeletal motion, eliminating the need for a controller. While it was inevitable that gamers would have their favorite of the bunch, the relevant point was that it didn't take long for Microsoft and Sony to catch up to Nintendo. They moved forward to the new generations of gaming quickly, maintaining an even playing field among competitors for gamer interaction and motion detection. In the Game Developers Conference GDC 2019, Nintendo, along with the other competitors, witnessed another player in the market, Google. I have never heard of Stadia in my life. I've never heard of that. Google unveiled Stadia, a cloud gaming service that streams games from the cloud to all types of devices, including the Chrome browser, Chromecast. What the heck is a Chromecast? And Pixel devices. Gaining the interest of game developers as evident from the history of game consoles. Game developers had tried to make games more and more complex with each new generation of systems. This meant that more money was invested in the production of each subsequent generation of games. Because game developers were spending more money on developing games, they were at great financial risk if games did not succeed. Thus, many developers felt more secure in simply creating sequels to existing games, which restrained innovation. The Switch's innovative controller, the Joy-Cons, now required a rethinking and re-engineering of the human interface by game developers and programmers. Another issue with developing games for the Switch was that its graphics were not quite as good as those of PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and therefore game developers had to be more creative and develop special Switch editions of their games. Many game developers used virtual machine software in developing new games. It was believed that game developers could develop games for the Switch and then make them for other platforms on the basis of the same programming, thereby reducing production costs. However, while the Joy-Con distinguished itself from its competitors, it created a hurdle for developers. When developers created a game for the PlayStation, they could create the same game for Xbox and vice versa. When developers created a game for the Switch, however, it required significant rework to deploy the title to the other platforms. Converting a title from the Xbox or PlayStation also requires significant work to modify the game to incorporate code for the Joy-Con's special features. While this uniqueness had served Nintendo well in the past, the Joy-Con's incompatibility with the likes of Microsoft and Sony limited the selection of games immediately available to the Nintendo Switch's audience. The selection of games had to be fulfilling enough to keep Nintendo's audience happy without leaving them feeling like they were missing out on games available only on the other platforms. A competition if the launch of Nintendo's Switch was a foray into the fierce competition among such existing models as Xbox One and PS4. Switch's competitors were offering many features that Nintendo did not. The price of $300 for the basic Switch included a portable game console with a built-in screen, pair of Joy-Con controllers, Joy-Con straps, Joy-Con grip, and a Nintendo Switch dock. The price of the PlayStation 4 was also $300. My gosh, that's so much money. Oh boy, that was funny. And the new Xbox One was $229 at a base price of $300. The Switch was intended to compete with the upper echelon of the next generation of game consoles, unlike the low-cost position of the original Wii. Apart from pricing, this is probably bad for my cube. Apart from pricing, there were many differences among the performance specifications of Switch in comparison to its fiercest competitors. Who cares? Why do I care? I don't care. Oh, even more stuff I don't care. Oh. Microsoft Xbox One. Like, in 2019, Microsoft was investing in new services like Mixer, which blurs the line between watching and playing, and Game Pass, a new unlimited subscription service. The company released Xbox One S and Xbox One X in August 2016, November 2017, and investing aggressively in content, community, and cloud services across every endpoint to expand usage and deepen engagement with gamers. The latest Xbox One X was available at two different prices, $150 for the 500 gigabyte model and $400 for the 1 terabyte model. Jeez. One of the important features of Xbox One was Xbox Live. This feature allowed individuals to play online against other users around the world. Thus, Microsoft had created a community of individuals who were able to communicate with one another by voice chats and play. Oh no! And play against each other in a video game. In 2019, Xbox Live had 57 million monthly users. Another service offered by Xbox Live was the Xbox Live Marketplace, which enabled users to download movies, game trailers, game demos, and arcade games. It was estimated that more than 70% of connected Xbox users were downloading content from the Xbox Live Marketplace, totaling more than 8 million members.